Morning, everyone. Welcome to CW Live. My name is Chris Webb with Tony Booch from our National Executive. Morning, Tony.
Morning, Chris.
So we're going to be trying to get you. There's a National Executive Council meeting here today. There's also a Postal Executive Council meeting. So I'm going to try throughout the day to, in amongst everyone's busy schedules, grab them down, have a chat about how things are going with the ballot. Take some questions from you. Maybe throughout the day, depending on obviously the relevance to the officers and executive members we have sat with us. And talk about the most important thing in a minute, which is getting the vote out. So I'm going to go right to that if I can, Tony, with you. I know because I've seen you've been sending them in, done loads of membership meetings. I want to know really what the feeling on the gate is, if you like, or in the offices you've been going to is.
So look, I think to be fair, Chris, I've done a number last week. I've done some in South Wales this week, Monday, and again yesterday, sort of in the sort of Surrey area. So, and the members are absolutely 100% behind the union. They've actually already returned their ballot papers. So the ones yesterday, people have gone, we've got on, we've voted, we've returned it. And I think we'll deliver a massive yes vote and the turnout. I think the anger, though, and I think this is the anger, it's one, the way in which our members are being treated by management and the fact that obviously we've got a ballot again and they don't want an agreement with the union. So our members are 17 days in, nine months of the action. I think they're disillusioned with Royal Mail management of why they don't want to reach an agreement with our union. I think they can see that from some of the attacks that they're coming under in the workplaces. But I think the biggest thing that's the most emotive thing at this moment in time is the business just steamrolling through executive action, which, when you're in that office and you're speaking to those members about the reasons to vote yes, and they're saying, well, we're being told we've got to change our start and finish times by an hour, it's just not acceptable.
I think that's spot on. I'll come on to the executive action review. I wanted to talk about one of the things I think we've talked about it. I know I've talked about it to Dave and Andy and Terry and the other officers as well, is like how Royal Mail treat our people in terms of mentally. So, during the last ballot, for example, one of the things I said to quite a few of the officers was it seems like Royal Mail are treating our members as if they're stupid. And it seems as if they've even gone further this time. So a couple of instances I want to give you is I think it was the day before yesterday when it was announced that the CEO and the chair were going to be recalled to the select committee for misleading Parliament. Royal Mail were putting out comms saying the CW aren't telling the truth. Actually on that very same day, they've been exposed as clearly not telling the truth. And then this morning, again, Royal Mail have very specific times they release their financial results. They've brought that forward conveniently, to be timed within the ballot. Clearly a move to try and put pressure on people who are voting. We know that's not going to work, but clearly a move to do that. I don't know, we're losing money and all that sort of stuff. But at the same time as failing to recognise that everybody knows that all those senior people in the company have changed their rules around their bonuses, so they can still receive bonuses based on shareholder value, whereas all of our members have to suck it up and have pay imposed on them at such a low level. And I think, that's filtering through as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think without a shadow of doubt that is filtering through. I think people have seen through Royal Mail's comms that they're not being open and honest. If you just go back to that select committee bit, and it's good that the CEO's been recalled, and obviously the Royal Mail chairman has been offered the chance to be there at the same time. So I think that's powerful, because if you just take one aspect from that select committee, and I'm going to pick sick pay for argument's sake, but the CEO at the time said, well, he wouldn't answer the question yes or no in terms of telling the truth. So that's an accusation back at the CWU in their comms this week in terms of that they've tried to portray that. But on that one alone, listen, this is part of their best and final offer to change the sick absence trigger points and to change the sick pay policy. Now, they can say it only affects 1% of employees, but it affects every single employee, because any employee could be caught up in sick absence at any moment in time. So you could end up having a second absence in a 12-month period, and then you would get statutory sick pay. That's the proposal. So they're being disingenuous. I think people have seen right through that. And genuinely, I do think where people are seeing through what Royal Mail are saying and telling the truth is around some of the new entrants terms and conditions and the contracts they're getting. So, if you look at some of the changes to new entrants terms and conditions, it's the hours they work, it's the 5 days over 7, it's the no meal release for those new entrants, it's the fact that those entrants can be compelled to work overtime and it will be a breach of their contract, and it's the fact that actually, in their new contracts, Chris, that they've actually put in one of the conditions of their contracts going forwards will be flexi time, will be seasonal hour working, and likewise, then you come into the truth around revisions, because they've made it clear that, I mean, they've got this document here. This is a Royal Mail document, and I know we'll release it at some point for yourself, Chris, and to the comms. But this is what they've told their managers. What their managers can do and what their managers cannot do in revisions. And it makes it clear within that document that managers cannot change start and finish times unilaterally without agreement and without using a process. Now, up and down the country, they are changing start and finish times. Now, we're going to get a report today from the divisional reps to the union's national officers, and the PEC is due to meet later on today as well, to discuss, obviously, what we do around that. But it is absolutely clear Royal Mail are the ones that are not telling the truth in this dispute.
Thanks, buddy. One of the things, I mean, obviously, as I said at the start of the session you've been at and about, is that the meetings are taking place, which is great. There's a couple of questions I want to ask you. One, obviously, we've got a number of reps suspended, a number of members suspended as well. Some of our reps even gone as far as dismissing them, I mean, on some real outrageous fit-ups. And the union will deal with that. But that does leave some gaps, doesn't it? And I know our executive, our field official structure, branches, they've been sort of doing their absolute best to plug those gaps. How important is it, though, would you say a message to branches be today, to reps, to make sure that in this period, this week, really, let's be honest about it, this week when the ballot, is really at the forefront of people's minds, that every office has a meeting?
Oh, it's fundamental. I mean, look, I did a couple, as I said yesterday morning, which were difficult, to be fair, because, listen, our members are challenging to say, look, listen, we're having stuff given to us by executive action in 2 weeks' time. The businesses are full on attacking us. So you have to deal with that, and you have to answer that difficult questions. But listen, we can't shy away from that. Our members have been absolutely fantastic through this dispute. They've taken 17 days of industrial action. They've supported this union and made huge sacrifices, and then they're in this for the long haul. But they deserve, for our branches, our representatives, to update them as best they can. Now, every PEC member is available, every divisional rep's available. We've got officials within branches. No office in this union should not have had a gate meeting between either this week or even if that goes over to this week. And likewise, we should be using every disposable means that we've got. So you use your communications channels in terms of the national. But listen, any branch can ask any PEC member or a divisional rep, if necessary, to come on their own branch forums as well to do stuff in the evening. I know I've got a couple of them to do tonight as well, because I think that is another avenue to support not just the members, but also the representatives as well.
Great stuff. I can see everyone, by the way, saying they voted yes. If you have voted yes, let us know in the comments, and I'll get those up on screen if I get a moment to do so. One of the things that's emerged in the last couple of days, I mean, Royal Mail were saying about it before Christmas, is that people were logging into their Royal Mail apps, and that Royal Mail have deducted annual leave from people who have participated in strike action. And it's that like constant doubling down on, like, let's be honest about it, it's punishment. Yeah. It's saying, like, you go on a strike, we'll punish you. Lots of members, I can see a few in the comments today saying, like, well, are the union going to do anything about it? Can we do anything about that aspect? Yeah.
So in terms of the annual leave, I think it's just starting to come to the fore now. So I think there was a notice that was put out by, I think, the people officers, Serena Brown, which put out already, Reckner, saying that's what you'll do. And look, let's be brutally honest here. It is a punishment charter. It is a punishment for individuals that have been taking a lawful industrial action that the business have put this mechanism in place. So it will form part of the talks. We'll have to deal with it, particularly as we go through forward. But I do think it's important that people understand, particularly where the business is going, because they want you to be in a position where you never have a finish time, no matter what function you work in. They want total flexibility, and they want that style of employment model. And you've just got to look at, and if anyone hasn't seen it, there was a letter to branches issued last week. So speak to your representatives, speak to your branches. Do the due diligence on what these new entrants are being employed on. They're being told they've got to work 40 hours, no meal relief, paid meal reliefs, compelled to work Sundays. Or their start and finish times being, across changed with a notice period, 5 days over 7, working 20 hours between 6 a.m. 10 p.m. at night. This is the sort of employment model that the business want going forward. So that be under no illusion, it is just another attack. And listen, I think you just said it, Chris, in terms of reps and members that have been suspended, dismissed, facing conduct action on trumped up charges. It is an intimidation factor that the business is doing to try and force our members that if we end up in a situation, one, in this ballot to try and encourage people to abstain or vote no. And secondly, if we end up in a situation where we have to call more industrial action, that there's a fear factor that people don't support industrial action. That's what we're in. We're in a union-busting environment, and Royal Mail is going hell for leather on it, and we have to deal with it.
Spot on, Tony. There's a reference there, just for a final point to Tony, to the letter to branches which went out saying that people who have agreed to take voluntary redundancy and will be leaving before the 2nd of March, you shouldn't vote. That's correct. Obviously, we've got to do everything we can to make sure we cover every possible legality. So if you have taken VR, not relevant to hardly any of our members, I know, but if you have taken VR and you are leaving before the 2nd of March, then you shouldn't vote in the ballot. Tony, last question to you really is give you the opportunity to just get across how important it is that members actually use their votes, because there will be elements of apathy. We know management are going like hell for leather. They're intimidating people in the workplace. They're intimidating people online. We know that they've got mailings planned to people, and effectively it's a huge scare operation going on. And our members have lost a lot of money already, haven't they? And as you said, some of them will be seeing change in and around them and going, can we, are we going to win this? There will be that nervousness. So just how important is it that every single CWB member casts their vote, one, and secondly, convinces their colleagues to do likewise?
It's fundamental, Chris. So we've got a situation where, one, we two things. I think the business are in a position where they felt the level of support this union's received across the 17 days we took so far before in 2022 was to a level I don't believe they expected. I think they believed there would have been a drift back. They're now in a position where they're trying to encourage comms to say we've made concessions to some of those proposals and they put that in their literature, and we've seen that. And I do think some of our members are seeing through that. And again, we'll have to. I know I've issued some communications to the branches in South Wales, South West, and I've shared that around WhatsApp groups with P members to use, because this isn't just an attack on one group of our members. It's an attack on everybody. And you look at that, whether it's process and realignment, whether it's distribution duties, whether it's the delivery jobs, whether it's the admin jobs, every single person is under threat in this, in what the business wants. And they're now pushing for. They are hoping that this union, in my opinion, one, doesn't deliver a yes vote, but secondly, doesn't hit the threshold come the 16th of February. And we've been here before, in previous disputes many years ago, where the business, I believe, are hoping that this union doesn't deliver that threshold and turn out on the 16th. And then they say to Dave, to Andy, to our other postal officers, there's our best and final offer. Sign that, get out of the room. And you just got to look at all of the things that they want to bring in as part of their proposals, all of the stuff that's in these new entrance terms and conditions. That is the employment model that Royal Mail want to move to. That will, if you look fast forward to 9 months, everything that they want is what they in their proposals is what they're trying to achieve, and our members have to deliver the turnout, have to deliver the yes vote, because that's the only way we're going to stop Royal Mail.
Spot on, Tony. Thank you for your time, buddy. I'm sure we'll catch up with you during the rest of the balloting period. Really enjoyed the chat, mate. To everyone of you, as Tony so articulately set out there, vote yes, get your colleagues to do the same, and get those ballot papers back ASAP, and we will win this dispute.